Hey there, Fight here with a quick further comparison between Wishloop and Convertri. So basically the questions I keep getting are, now which one do you actually want to use? Which one is for me? After I kind of ruled out good old Thrive, and that's purely a personal preference. I just want to repeat that. The guys behind Thrive are excellent, great, outstanding support. Many people love it. They keep updating the product like Wishloop do, like Convertri do. These are all great products. But some people like one more, some others like another one more, and I tend more towards Wishloop and Convertri, and I want to show you right now what the main difference is between those two. All right. So actually, the main difference is, so in Wishloop, I've got this capture module, so I can basically go in here and quickly create a new page. And what I'm going to do now is, rather than me edit big pages and set them up on new, I'm just going to use a couple of templates and do a quick modification. That's all. So you can see how they, you will immediately see what the main differences are. So in order to make this kind of semi-comparable, I've chosen two templates that are vaguely similar in the two. And what I've got is basically, I'm going to use this one over here. I'm going to select that. You'll see it in a second in Wishloop. The editor is loading. There you go, beautiful picture, and this is what we're going to use in our experiment. And then if when I go over to Convertri, I am going to use something similar. Now, there's a key thing I want to point out to you, and that is this. I'm just going to go. This is one of the things I need to open the make the screen a little bit bigger to see the buttons at the bottom. So I'm going to close this for 1 second because I'm going to show you something, and that is in Wishloop. All the pages are on my main subdomain. So the subdomain on the Wishloop platform is Fight. And that's me, and all my pages appear on this. So as you can see here, fightwishloop.com/page XYZ. So I can change this to anything I like, but for the time being, I'll leave it at that. It doesn't really matter. But that's the key thing. The pages all appear on the same subdomain, whereas on Convertri, you basically set up one subdomain per funnel or per site you want to have. So if, for example, you are in two different niches, or you have two different projects or whatever, you can set up multiple subdomains all on the Convertri platform. And of course, like with the other one, you can download stuff, you can redirect, do a domain redirect, so it all appears on your domain anyway. But if you want to use this for the hosting and the domain, the big difference is you can organize your projects in different subdomains. So in this subdomain, I also have, as an extra layer, the option to create an extra funnel. So, and then, it's quite nice here in the middle, it tells you what to do. So click here, I'll give this funnel landing page comparison. It's just a random name. Press enter when you're done. Okay, I'll do that. So then create first page, click the plus button. All right, I'll do that. So that's quite nice. I really like that about Convertri. They tell you what to do next. So as you saw beforehand, now where is my capture page? It'll be this one is it's not odd, right? So if I want to edit this here, there's no edit button here. You have to go to view, you see your page, then you go and click and edit. Oh, fair enough. It's one extra step. Who cares? There you go. Anyway, that's the page. Now go back to Convertri, and the one that is sort of vaguely similar is this one here. I'm going to choose this one here. I'm going to call this landing page comparison, where we Convertri. Accept. I click on yes, that's the one I want to use, and then I click on here to edit it. Fair enough. So similar number of clicks. So as you can see, we've got a picture, we've got a headline, we've got another headline, we've got a list of stuff, and a sign up form. I don't get these things. Like, when I worked at Siemens, all the ladies were walking around with these torn jeans, and no one said anything. But the moment you wear, like, jeans, not torn jeans, jeans, all the bosses go, oh, man, you need to wear some proper trousers. Like, anyway, there we go. So here we've got the two, and just as a small modification, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lady and stick her in here. Right? She goes out, and this one goes in. So I'll click on here. I go on properties, and I find the URL of this thing, highlight it, Control C. I go over here, I click on this lady, I go to settings. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Paste it in there, hit return, and there's our lovely lady. That's it, okay? So I'm not going to go into, so both have this one thing in common. You can take any element you like and move it around. If I like it more here, that's perfect. If I like this more here, perfect, right? This is the key thing, or this is one of the big things why I hated lead pages so much, right? It was basically take it or leave it. You could only switch this on or off. Here I can move things around as I wish and as I see fit. So anyway, there you go. You might say, oh, she needs a bit higher, and there you go. Now, over here, I can move things around any way I like. It shows an extra few lines how things are aligned. So if you need some extra help with this thing being central, etc., it does show you those things. But that's the key thing, the main difference. Otherwise, they are pretty much the same. You can move things around. Let me close this here. The slight difference when it comes to opt-in forms is these opt-in forms. Again, I go to settings. No, hang on, sorry. There we go. I then go to settings, so it took a second to select this thing here. I can now select external service and the API, which I've set up in settings in the main platform. I can now capture emails. In Convertri, it's done in a slightly different way. They didn't want to fiddle with APIs because they are error prone. They can go down, and people change their APIs. I mean, GetResponse constantly change their API. Good folks. So what they've done is, rather than you using an API, what you do is you go in here and this is the sign up form I want to use, and I basically go to the configure form, and you basically, what you do is you create a new form down here. Oh, sorry, you can't see that at the very bottom. There you go. I don't know if you can see it now. Let me just move that up a little bit. So new form, you can then basically, all you need is basically paste some HTML form code in there. So it has pros and cons. Here it's easier to reuse. You can do side effects if you like. It's extra tagging, etc., which you can't do in Wishloop. But at the end of the day, really both do their job beautifully. That is not the main difference. The main difference I'm going to demonstrate right now. Alright, I just had to get up and tell my daughter that I don't want the sound of boggled dice in the background. There we go. So let's go over to the main difference, what I think is the main difference. And it has to do with flexibility at the expense of simplicity, I would say. What we've got here is we've got this element here where we've got a background, and it's very nice, as you can see on the screen. Here you've got these lines that basically tells you what the viewport is. What is going to be visible, what's not visible. Down here it's going to be visible down to here. No torn jeans visible. That's a good thing. Same over here. There's the viewport. Thank you very much. It's visible from here to here, etc., etc. Over here I have the background. I've got this element, I've got this element, I've got this element, and this element. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. And over here I've got this element, I've got this element, I've got this element, I've got this element, and I've got this thing, the box down here. Alright, so fair enough, a similar number of elements, but now watch out for the main difference. Over here, if I now want to go and preview this on the desktop, it does a preview. Okay, there are things, fine, all looks good. If I now go to mobile, it shows me huge sales, thingy, and no picture. Because I haven't selected picture. Here it is. So I click on here. Now there's the lady. I showed you there are 4 elements, and here they are. That's all you can rearrange, right? On the mobile builder, I can now rearrange the order. That's it. Okay. But that is all there is to it. And that is the main difference between those two platforms. On here, the elements you put in there, that's how you can move things around, and that's it. And the only thing you can arrange is the order. Whereas over here, if I go to mobile preview, again, I have got the same situation. I've got all of this here, and then I've got the image at the bottom. So this is basically their default way of doing things. Okay, every single page there's an algorithm behind it that by default arranges things in this way. Now, if I want to move the picture behind this text at the front, here at the beginning, I could just take this lady and drag her up, and there she would be. Right, so good. There is the lady. And she's now sitting behind this thing. If I wanted to do that, or if I wanted to move her halfway up, or if I wanted to do anything else. Sorry, I've kind of messed it up now a little bit. I've clicked on the wrong stuff. Sorry, I've multi-selected all kinds of things, and as a result, I managed to kill the page. Where is my lady now? No, that's not her. Where is my lady? Okay, 1 second. Alrighty, all I had to do was hit undo or the Control Z button, and it's now back here. It goes to show that you need a little bit more practice moving things around. I'm not saying Convertri is bad. On the contrary, it's very, very powerful, but you actually need to use it a little bit more than Wishloop. Wishloop is literally go in, you can't do anything wrong. Here, I managed to get it wrong, and then I had to hit Control Z to fix things. So anyway, if I now say, well, rather than having her down here, I want to have her at the very top. Basically, I go to the very top and hit Shift, and then pull everything down. So now I'm making space, and what I can do now is basically take the lady and move her to the very top. And let's see how far we want to move her to the very top. About this far. Yes, now she's at the very top. And, well, maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's see. Make it a bit smaller and appear in the middle. So now I've shown you one of the powerful, why this has a bit more power, right? If I find, well, actually I want her to be a bit smaller because on mobile I don't want, you know, the giant picture occupying more than the first 3 screens, I just make it a bit smaller, or even smaller than that. You know, maybe she could be this small, and now I could move everything down here, this stuff, up again, and maybe overlap all the way down to fashion block. There you go, right? So that in a nutshell. And now if I go back to desktop, it's still there. You know, all I did was arrange it in here. By the way, you can also go in here and say, you know, these individual elements. So, for example, if I didn't want, you know, this thing down to appear on mobile, I just go here, click, disappear, right? Ding. But as you can see, I now have to click on both of them, the arrow and this text. So, if I go over here, if I say the image is not there, well, the image isn't there. But then I have no flexibility. I can't, you know, do major resizing. I can't do individual elements. So, for example, if I wanted to have the 70% off, you know, up here, it's, which one is it? This headline. You know, it's either there or it's not there. But I can't go and take part of it out. I could keep going. I hope you see the main difference, right? Wishloop, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, your job, and I've said this in a previous video, your job is to create marketing pages as quickly as possible and focus on the marketing. Your job is not to be a web designer. If you're a web designer, I mean, do get, you know, go get Thrive, get Convertri, get anything. They're all fantastic tools, but there's a bit more of a learning curve. If and when you see your job as creating quick pages where ultimately, you know, a minor modification is not going to make a big difference, just go with Wishloop. If you are at this is, I think my conclusion would be this. If you need to do things yourself right now at this point because you don't have the funds to get, you know, outsource things, do pick whatever works best for you. Pick Thrive, pick Convertri, pick Wishloop. Then the next step would be, if you're at a position, at a place in your business where now things are really taking off and you are fine-tuning your campaigns, you really have to go in and fine-tune whether this off in, you know, these letters versus the off in, you know, blue letters makes a big difference. Then I would go over to Convertri, whether you do it yourself or have someone else do it for you. For almost everybody else, when you're beginning, I would say Wishloop is where, you know, you get the most bang for the buck, in the sense of, yes, it's a tiny bit more restrictive than Convertri. It's nowhere near as restrictive as Lead Pages, but you can go in and do what matters, and that's the key thing. Like the 80-20, it's not even the 80-20, it's the 95-5 principle in marketing, online marketing. Really, you get the biggest bang for the buck not by fiddling with, you know, the color of this off text. You get it by getting the offer right. You get it by doing big things like, you know, should I do a huge sale with 70% off, or should I provide a massive bonus? And for that, you don't need the flexibility of, you know, some super in-depth tool. For that, Wishloop is just fine. Alrighty, hope that was useful. If you have any questions, just let me know. Cheers, bye.